You know, the problem with growing marijuana is that you're going to make some decisions when you're too high. If there's one thing we could agree on, it's that being too high never stopped anybody from doing anything. And even though we were too high and our plan to grow some marijuana was pretty bad, we went ahead with it anyways. We didn't want to have a drug empire. We didn't want to sell it. We just wanted to have some because we couldn't afford it. We needed to bring down the cost of our medication, and that was the only way that we saw that we could do it. We heard someone talk to us about that the same kind of lights that were used for marijuana are the same kind that you have out on the billboards at the highway. You know, those big billboards and those big lights that shine that up. They said that is the exact same kind that you need for the plants, and then we kind of put together a horrible idea. I remember somebody putting together some kind of plan to go down there, climb up on top of the billboard, disconnect those lights, lower them down with the rope. Maybe there might have been some misjudgment about how big the lights were or how difficult it would be to disconnect from live 220 volt electricity.
He said it was going to be easy to get those lights. I almost killed myself. Besides being electrocuted, they were huge, they were heavy. I almost dropped it off the edge. I was hanging from one hand. It was horrible.
Okay, there were some problems with the plan. The plan was really coming together that summer, and it was all working out. Our first batch was great. We had plenty of weed to smoke, but the problem, we were probably smoking too much. So we're hanging out one day, and we were smoking probably too much, and we get a call from the electric company, and they say that they're sending somebody out to check the panel because we're drawing too much electricity for a home. They're coming tomorrow. They want to check the electrical panel. It's in the basement. That's where all the weed is. Oh my God, it is never too early to panic. Okay, we were panicked. We were very panicked. And the plan that we came up with was to immediately cut everything down and put it in the fireplace and burn it. You know, it's one thing to make a decision when you're panicked, and it's another thing to make a decision when you're too high. But when you're too high and you're panicking, this is what happens. You put a lot of marijuana into a fireplace on the east side of Cleveland in the middle of summertime and you start a fire, right? That's what we did. Now, I went outside to do something, and I looked back at the house, and the entire neighborhood smells like burning marijuana, right? It turns out that we have the only house on the east side of Cleveland that has a fire in the middle of summertime. The smoke is just billowing out of the chimney, just like out of like a cheechandchong van, like a cheechandchong house. The smoke is just coming out of the house. The whole neighborhood smells like reefer. And, you know, my cannabis fire fucking burns away. Run back inside, we douse it with water, fills the house with smoke even more. It was a train wreck of bad ideas, and that's when we started to panic and come up with another way of how we're going to get rid of it all. So we start taking this weed and we're putting it in these baggies because our plan is to go down to this junkyard that we knew, and we're just going to throw it out, just get rid of it there. You know, and that was our plan, to drive to this junkyard and literally throw it over the fence into this place. We had a horrible plan. We're filling these baggies, and we're filling these baggies and then filling this big garbage bag. It's like, hey, why are we filling these small baggies? It looks like we're trying to distribute it. Now, you know, so we start filling these garbage bags. We get the garbage bags filled. We get them in the car. We start driving down East 55th Street, and we start panicking as people that are too high in panic do, and we're panicking, and we just start throwing it out the window as we're driving, throwing it left and throwing it right, kind of like a Cheech and Chong Santa Claus kind of thing. and we're just throwing and throwing and throwing it, and I'm not looking, I'm not paying attention. I run through this stop sign, and I look behind me, and there is a Cleveland police officer, and he puts his lights on. We have been driving through the east side of Cleveland, throwing bags of marijuana out the window. I just ran a stop sign. I know my plates are expired. Who God knows if my license is good or not. I've got a half dozen trash bags of marijuana in the back seat. Cops walking up to the window. I just got my head down, man, because there's no way I'm getting out of this. I am doomed. Like a guardian angel sent down from heaven, man. A white Cadillac came creaming up and hit that police car, hit the parked car in front of me, and kept on going down the road, man. That cop spun around right at the side of my window, went back, jumped in his car, and drove away, and me and my buddy were just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? We got out of the car, took all that weed, threw it on the sidewalk right then and there, got back in the car, zipped it around, split, went home, and that was the end of that project. And the very next day, the power company never came out, never called, no more, nothing about it. And that was the end of our horticulture project. And it got us through the summer, got us through the fall, and got us through where we needed to be. But it was a lot of stress. There was a lot of stupid decisions made, certainly on my part. You know, years later, I met a guy who told me a story. He said the best thing that ever happened to him is he was walking down East 55th Street, and he found a garbage bag full of marijuana. And it just brought the cheechandchong Santa Claus thing all together. You know, I don't recommend driving through a major American city throwing bags of weed out the window. But if you do, I just want you to remember that you really are doing a nice thing for somebody.